2021 is now coming to an end. I know it's not completely done yet. There are probably still some games left to come out, but I'm gonna be honest, I've played everything that I intend on playing. And I played a lot more this year than I usually did, which means I got disappointed a lot this year, and I played some stinkers. So this is the top 10 worst / most disappointing games of 2021. I'm not doing a top 10 worst games of the year, and I'm not doing a top 10 most disappointing games of the year. I'm doing one list because there aren't too many of these games that would be on a worst games of the year list while also not being on a most disappointing games of the year list. So I'm going to combine the two, and this is also my opinion, so I'm not going to stretch this out into something it isn't. This is just based on what I played this year. And some of the games I actually do like. I think there are ways to improve, but they did disappoint me when they first dropped. Anyways, let's just get into it, but before we do that, you know what to do. If you like this video, subscribe, hit the bell, leave a comment, or I'll harvest your organs.
I wanted to give to you, in the last part of your notes here, the significance spiritually of the number 10 in the Bible.
I really didn't want to put Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl on this list. It's so much fun. I gave it a positive review and recommended it. Hell, I even tried to find another game to put on this list instead, but I feel this game needs to be here. Now, I still stand by my opinion that Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl is a solid game for fans of Smash and Nickelodeon. One major issue I had with the game at launch in my review was the lack of content, and on top of that, basic content. And I sort of downplayed that factor in my review, but I later realized I feel that really hurts the game for me. I know there is an update for it, but the fact that this game launched with no alts, not even color swaps, and the fact that friendly lobbies were missing basic features kind of frustrates me. Like, you want to play with friends, and you want to switch your characters in between matches? Okay, you just need to leave the lobby entirely and then rejoin. Like, you cannot tell me that you don't know how to do an option to switch your character. Not to mention, unless you go pro and spend all your time labbing characters, which, more power to you, and respect as well, there isn't much else you can do in this game. I still do recommend this game for fans of Smash and Nickelodeon, but not for $50. Speaking of games with a lack of content, I sure got my hopes up with Mario Golf Super Rush. I think some things they've added, like Speed Rush, is a nice new addition, but there aren't many characters, there aren't many courses, there aren't many other modes, and the story mode is one long tutorial. On top of that, the story mode has fully rendered characters that aren't playable. I know they've added quite a lot of new content pretty frequently since release, and I've heard the game has actually gotten pretty good recently, but the problem with doing that is that I stopped caring after a week. Nintendo doesn't usually make games with this live service model. They first started doing it with Splatoon, and that along with Splatoon 2 actually did the live service game pretty well. But if they are going to be more like Mario Golf Super Rush, I'm worried.
So I'm going to be giving this flavor 8.5 out of 10 scoops.
ActRaiser is a fantastic game on the Super Nintendo, one of the greatest hidden gems of all time. And when they announced ActRaiser Renaissance, a remaster of the game on modern consoles, I was very excited, but I feel this was such a missed opportunity. The game is more so a remaster, but it looks odd. It looks like a mobile game. And then I found out that it was a mobile game. And while I'm sure it looks fine on mobile, it becomes a problem when the game is, I don't know, on Switch, PS4, PS5, Xbox, and PC. I don't know, just a thought. ActRaiser Renaissance could have and should have given ActRaiser the recognition it was long overdue for, but it was just not it, man.
36.
Very close, but that's not it. Let's go to Gary the Retard. What number between 2 and 4?
7.
Hell Let Loose. Okay, let's be honest, if this game wasn't free on PS Plus, would you have even heard of this game? Hell, even considering that, have you heard of this game before? Probably not, and that's because there isn't much to write home about. This is just a generic first-person military shooter PvP game, whoop-de-doo, that kind of even tries to include some horror elements, which I think is interesting on paper, as war can be very scary, but this game is just so lame. The maps are lame, the combat is lame, the weapons are lame. This game in general is just lame. Additionally, since Hell Let Loose is actually supposed to be a military simulator, it tries so hard to be suspenseful that you just end up looking around for other enemies to fight, and getting from point A to point B takes a while. That's what makes Hell Let Loose such a drag.
Okay, Mrs. Puff, what's my final score?
6.
Woo! I've been very critical of live service games as seen with Mario Golf Super Rush, but it can be done right as seen with Left 4 Dead, and Turtle Rock Studios, who made Left 4 Dead, have decided to make a new Left 4 Dead spiritual successor, that being Back 4 Blood. But unfortunately, Back 4 Blood doesn't do the whole live service thing well. Now don't get me wrong, Back 4 Blood is a lot of fun, for about 4 hours, and then you've seen everything the game has to offer. That really sucks, as I feel if there was more content, or if they didn't charge you $60 for this game, it might have actually been worth it. It was free on Game Pass, but I don't have Xbox, and spent $60 for it on PlayStation. The game controls well, performs well, and again, for about 4 hours, holds a good amount of enjoyment value, and that's why it's not higher. And I know that there will be more content over time, but similar to Mario Golf, too little too late.
Oh, chills. Literal chills.
It was number 5. Number 5 killed my brother.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
If I played the early access version of Battlefield 2042, it might have actually been number 1, but I swear there must have been the biggest day 1 patch of all time. But I'm conflicted on this game, so I'm putting it in the middle of this list. While the launch edition seemed more polished than the beta and early access versions, there is still no scoreboard, reviving teammates is needlessly difficult, the hit registration is very wonky, and the maps are way too big. They look great, but they are so big that unless you have a vehicle, getting from point A to point B takes far longer than it takes for me to make a pizza with eggs on it. But what pissed me off the most about this game is that EA are going to update this game and make it better. That sounds like a positive, but I feel this is definitely a game they could have delayed to ensure a stellar game release. I was starting to think EA had cleared up their act because they stopped fucking up games lately. But let's hope Battlefield 2042 is not a sign of EA reverting back to their old ways. While kind of falling off lately, Among Us did take the world by storm last year, and for great reason. This isn't the first ever murder mystery thing at all, not even the first ever murder mystery game, but it's the first murder mystery game that did anything like this. Now we got First Class Trouble, which is just Among Us, but looks and plays like this. And notice how I didn't mention a difference in the game's actual premise? That's because when it comes to the premise, there is no difference. First Class Trouble is Among Us. Down to premise, to the way it's presented pretty much, even the lobby system is like Among Us. First Class Trouble also just doesn't play well. There was literally a moment where I tried to go into an elevator and I couldn't move. Like, my character was stuck. I actually could not move. So the game sometimes doesn't even work, and when it does, it has as much entertainment value as a single game of Among Us when you have no idea how to play, but even less fun. All this makes First Class Trouble nothing more than a poor man's version of Among Us. Man, this one hurts. A remaster of the GTA trilogy had so much potential, but Rockstar just needed it to come out before the end of the year, didn't they? Now the GTA Trilogy Definitive Edition isn't higher because I actually kind of find these games more playable than most people find them, but it should not have released in this state at all. There are countless glitches, crashes, texture popping, occasionally unresponsive controls, and many more issues that really just shouldn't be in here. I get that Rockstar couldn't get GTA 5 port number 69 ready in time for the end of the year, so they wanted this game out, so they kind of rushed it and put it through a fax machine or whatever the fuck to get it out before the end of the year. But that's dumb because Rockstar barely makes games anymore. Seriously, you wanna know their last game? Red Dead Redemption 2, and all of a sudden they need one for the holidays? Bullshit! Throw that in with the fact that people who bought the PC version of this game couldn't even fucking play it. They couldn't play the game that they bought with their money, and while maybe not being the worst game on this list, I'm gonna just tell you, it's the most disappointing.
Pencil do we take again?
Number 2. Take a number 2.
Looks like you took a big number 2.
Biomutant, a game that didn't have much buzz behind it, but a game that I thought deserved more buzz. Notice my wording there. I actually followed this game and remember first seeing it in, 2017? So it seemed to be in development hell. And God bless the developers, I don't know where that time went. First off, this is a strange game to criticize. Do I criticize this game as an indie game? Because it kinda is one? Or do I criticize this game as a full price $60 game like it fucking was? Don't get me wrong, the first couple of hours were actually pretty fun. I streamed the first couple of hours on twitch.tv/DPX_solo, go follow me, and enjoyed it, but once the stream ended, it was just rinse and repeat. It's like they wanted me to be positive, so they only made the game fun for the duration of a Twitch live stream. The combat is incredibly uninspired, the game is very cryptic on how to get from point A to point B. The bosses require a level of precision that, while not too much of an issue, the bosses shouldn't be so precise if the controls are as clunky as trying to balance on a fucking potato. Not to mention, the game feels immature, meaning the names of the characters and locations in the game sound like names that my 5-year-old little cousin could have came up with. I thought that Biomutant had a lot of potential and could have been possibly a sleeper hit of the year, but it was quite a letdown.
I'm Luigi, number 1.
Man, for a period of time, it was hard to go online without seeing something pop up about how bad Balan Wonderworld is. However, there is a reason for that. Balan Wonderworld wasn't originally my number 1 for me, but I'll get into why it is now in a bit. But the controls are so ass backwards, it's actually cringy. Every single button jumps. That's already awful game design, but surely, you know, it's only the face buttons, right? The shoulder buttons, like, you know what the shoulder buttons are. Why was I about to tell you that? The shoulder buttons do other stuff, right? Nope. So literally, every single button jumps. But the game boasts about how many costumes or power-ups, kind of 2-in-1 feature, there are. So when you get the power-up, your jump is now replaced with whatever power-up you now have. So not only does every single button jump, but also not even. I hope that made sense. Other than that, the reason why Balan Wonderworld is number 1 is because I don't think I have anything else to say about this game. There is nothing to this game. The only other thing I can think of to say is that Balan Wonderworld is so lame and so easy that you can probably set a speedrunning world record by accident. So it just exists without much merit, and that's why Balan Wonderworld is number 1. So that's my list of the top 10 worst / most disappointing games of 2021. The first time I'm doing this, I don't know if it'll become a yearly thing. It just depends on how many games I play next year. If I play enough games that disappointed me, or games that just suck, maybe I'll do one of these. But anyways, what did you guys think of this list? Be sure to like this video, come subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Or, if you don't subscribe, remember, I will harvest your organs. Bye, guys!